You're listening to the Lunchtime programme here on News Talk 106 to 108. If you want to comment on anything you hear throughout the show, the text line is 53106. Now, the price of gold apparently knows no bounds. It's still hovering around $1,750 an ounce this morning. It's had, over the last few weeks, it has had over 20 successive record highs on global markets. What exactly is going on, and why are families investing in gold bars that apparently are of no practical use whatsoever? We're joined now by a man who understands the metals markets and indeed the whole mineral and oil exploration area. Emmett O'Connell is an Irish businessman who has long experience searching for minerals and indeed for oil and gas. And he's also spent a large part of his life in the United States, and he understands the psyche of these markets. Emmett, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Damien.
Now, first of all, please explain for our baffled listeners why people are piling into gold at this point. I believe it's more expensive now than platinum.
Well, yes. Just last week it moved ahead of platinum. Platinum is generally considered an industrial metal, more than an investment or a hoarding metal. And platinum is and has been trading close to its cost of production. So that gives the buyer some feeling that there isn't going to be a precipitous drop in the platinum price. Because if it's trading close to its cost of production and it's used principally in industry rather than in investment, that creates a firm platform.
But you said that gold was for hoarding, essentially. The people are saying that it could go to $2,500 an ounce. Is that being realistic?
Well, that particular figure, everybody loves to pull out round numbers, but that figure largely equates to the record price it reached in the early 1980s. When it reached $850 an ounce. But if you were to consider the inflationary cost since then, its equivalent price would be about $2,400 an ounce. So that's where that nice round number of 2,500 comes from.
They're translating the records achieved in the early 80s into current prices.
Into current prices, it would be about $2,400.
Now, why are people so obsessed with gold? Because we've had reports on our station of people coming into Ireland and selling it using machines even that you'd buy small lots like 250 grams at a time and so forth. Why is that?
Well, it's become fashionable. Like many other things, by the time it reaches the individual investor, large parts of the gain are already in the price. And the idea of buying small grams of gold from a machine rather beggars the imagination, but it is being done. It was first popular in Germany, and it has spread out from Germany into other areas.
What are you saying to people to be careful that it's kind of for mugs, basically?
Well, you're paying a substantial premium for the retail price of gold when you buy it that way. Now, that's not to say that it's still not a good investment if the price of the metal doubles. But you are paying the top of the market for the item. And you're also getting into the market after it has seen a very, very strong run.
Sure. Now, the Financial Times led on Saturday with a story saying that a lot of American families were taking their money out of the stock markets. They were just terrified because of the huge volatility of the price of equities. You know, big companies were going up and down, and they just couldn't tolerate this. And they're taking their money away, and they're either keeping it in cash or else putting it into commodities like copper and silver and gold and all kinds of things that you know about. What do you think is going on there? I mean, it's psychology, is it?
All right, there's a number of things happening at once. First, yes, the financial markets have been very, very volatile, and the basic belief in the financial markets has been badly damaged by the behavior of the banks worldwide, not simply in Ireland, but in other countries as well. So the article of faith that the banks were a safe and conservative investment, that's been badly, badly damaged. And investors are looking for other places to put their money. But in the commodity market, that covers a very wide spectrum. You have crude oil, you have gold, iron ore, copper, you have corn, the agricultural commodities. And the metals themselves are divided into two areas. The industrial metals, such as zinc, aluminium, and platinum, they're all selling at close to their production price. In other words, it's unlikely that they're going to drop below the cost of production. That gives them a floor. However, if there is an economic setback and industrial production falls, then the price of those metals will also fall with it. So that brings it back to crude oil, and crude oil is also used as a thermometer for the economic well-being of the world. When the demand for energy is high, the crude oil price rises. In fact, the crude oil price has been falling the last couple of weeks, which would be a leading indicator that all is not well with worldwide industrial production. So it's an era of great uncertainty in which the normal leaders of the economic community, such as bankers and politicians, they have been so besmirched by their own inequities and inabilities that people have lost faith.
Sure.
And then they lose faith in money.
You haven't lost faith. You have a company which is I know you've been on the go for a few years now, since perhaps the mid-noughties, since 2006. It's called Great Western Mining Corporation. You're going to bring it onto the stock exchange in London, the alternative investment market, in the next few months. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm chairman of Great Western Mining Corporation. It's a gold and silver and copper exploration company. It's an Irish company, but it's active in Nevada. Nevada is the seventh largest state in the union, including Texas and Alaska. It's only got 3.5 million people in it, and it's standing on its own, it would be something like the fifth or sixth largest gold producer in the world. So it's an area that we know, and that there's a very large Irish and Irish-American population in Nevada. The old Comstock mine, which was the greatest gold and silver discovery ever in America, that was controlled by what used to be called the Four Horsemen, the Four Irish Horsemen. They were all Irish. So there's a good tradition there of exploration work, and Great Western Mining is coming on to the AIM market, I believe, possibly the end of this week in London. But
this is your company, Great Western Mining.
Company.
It's an Irish company, but it's raising funds in London through the alternative investment market.
That's correct, yeah.
And by way of diversion, it's also involved in, by accident, I think, discovering uranium. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Which is a very dangerous thing to discover.
Yeah. You know, they say everybody has their 15 seconds of fame in the world. Great Western, quite by accident, they literally stumbled over a uranium claim that nobody knew was there until it was rediscovered, because it turns out that it was actually discovered as a uranium mine in the early 1950s at the height of the Cold War, when the United States was searching around for uranium deposits within its own area. People don't realize that the uranium that went into the early atomic bombs, the ones that were dropped in Japan, that uranium actually came from the Congo. The United States didn't have any domestic sources of uranium. So there was a history of it there, but then it was forgotten about. And while we were uncovering a gold and silver prospect, we sent off a shipment of ore for testing, only to be severely reprimanded by the Atomic Energy Commission for shipping radioactive material through the public transport system. Now, it wasn't that dangerous because it was in its native state. It wasn't enriched. It was simply rock. All right? But, yes, There was a flash announcement on.
So you'll be subject to attention on not just on the alternative investment market in London, but also politically in the United States.
Well, that portion of the claim, we have 73 square kilometers of land, and that portion of the claim we have isolated, and a very well-known Canadian company, ESO Uranium, that's all they do is uranium. They have claimed the other half of the mountain, and they are experts on it, and they're proceeding to carry out some drilling on their side of it, and that area will be developed as a unit. So we won't be doing any immediate work there, having made the rediscovery.
Stick to the old-fashioned metals. Listen to me, just to wrap, your advice to people is to be careful if they're investing in gold, essentially. I know you have long experience of this.
Yes. Well, the answer is yes, be careful. And remember that some of the old standbys are still some of the best. I'm 75 years old now, and I know when I got married 50 years ago, they still gave sovereigns and settlements in gold sovereigns. So you have gold coins. The old British sovereign, the South African Krugerrand, the Mexican Centario, all of those are very high quality coins, and they can be obtained from reputable coin dealers and also from coin brokers.
So don't buy your gold out of a slot machine. Deal with a new are they called numismatists?
Yeah, numismatics. You see.
Okay.
Stick with that, and you know what you're getting, because you're getting an authentic British sovereign or South African Krugerrand or Mexican Centario. You know what you're getting, and you're getting it in nice quantities.
Okay, listen, Emmett O'Connell, Irish-American businessman, thank you very much for joining us and explaining the mysteries of the gold market to us, and best of luck with the flotation of your company, Great Western Mining, later this week. Indeed, I think you said on Alternative Investment Market in London.
That's correct, and thank you for having me on your program.
No problem.